Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to the final part in the Metallica trilogy of reviews. This is part 3, the 2000s. If you have not seen part 1, click the fedora. If you have not seen part 2, click the TV. In this part, I will be covering the 2000s, as I stated before. There are only 2 albums that I'm going to be covering that they released in the 2000s, Saint Anger and Death Magnetic. They've released live EPs and such in between that, but nothing substantial, no live albums like S&M that reimagine the material. I don't really have much to say other than that, so why don't we get started? And the first time they released in the 2000s was called Saint Anger, and that was released back in 2003. And most want to hate this album. Like, most want to say this is Metallica's worst album. I highly disagree. I think that's low. While they didn't have an official bassist on this album, Jason had left to do his project, Echo Brain, and they kicked him out because he wanted to do that. And, yeah. And all of this is laid out in clear detail in Some Kind of Monster. That documentary, which is awesome, by the way, covers all of the drama and stuff that went behind this album, and honestly, I can get the flaws some would say about this album. There's no solos. That can make some of the songs drag along. I disagree. I think the songs don't sound drug on, even though there's no solos. People want to flag the drums for having that steel sound. While that is different from Metallica, I'm used to that from bands like Lamb of God, so doesn't bother me like it used to. When I first heard this album, I was a bit younger, and I didn't really like it. But I've grown to really love this album. The drums don't bother me as much as they used to. It is still fairly different, even from the last 2 albums. James sounds a little different on vocals. There's points like on Dirty Window and Shoot Me Again and Frantic where his voice cracks in a weird way and it sounds a little different, but I don't hate it. It has probably one of my favorite drum breakdowns by Lars in Sweet Amber. I love that. I love the way that sounds. I think it's awesome. I think it adds this great element to the sound. If anything, this album sounds less epic. They're focusing more on the heavy, which I kind of like. It's different, even lyrically. I give this album a thumbs up. I like it more than Load and Reload. It is definitely the redheaded stepchild of all of their albums because it has a sound that doesn't really fit anywhere in their catalog, but I dig it. I think it's cool. I hope that, even though I dig it, I like the direction they go to on the next album. I'll talk more about that in a little bit, but my favorite song is Sweet Amber. I think the riffage is all on this album. I think people should give it an honest chance. Yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say. And then the last name they released to this date is called Death Magnetic, which was released back in 2008. And this is Return to Form. They even went back to the old logo, which is kind of cool, I guess. But back to the old kind of Justice, kind of Puppets, kind of Black album, rooted sound, and a lot of these songs. It's it even goes back to their old formula, kind of like Static X did with Ozzy songs and stuff. First album being this slow build-up, like on the Black album and Battery and all these albums. 4th song being a ballad, kind of like Want or Fade to Black or Welcome Home Sanitarium. And the last track being the shortest track in the album, My Apocalypse. Even having kind of the instrumental being the track before the last track, like on Puppets or on And Just For All. They continue the Unforgiven with a different sounding song, which was so great to hear, because Unforgiven 2 really bothered me. I didn't like the way it sounded. I love the way the Unforgiven 3 sounds, because it kind of carries the same but different message in a different light. Like, it kind of goes from a different perspective of the first song. And, I mean, it's great. And while I miss the solos on Saint Anger, I don't hate that there's no solos, I love to hear this kind of caged bird flying out with That Was Just Your Life, with the first That Was Just Your Life solo. The riffage is back to fast. The drums don't sound all steel drummy and terrible, as some would say. Suicide Redemption as an instrumental, probably my least favorite out of the ones they've written. It's not terrible, but it's not fantastic. The songs all are long as shit, but they're awesome. There's a bug in here. But, I mean, I love this album. The biggest flack I have to give it is, and I guess it's because I got the album earlier than some, because I was stoked to get it, the production is ramped up to hell. These songs sound loud and in your face, and a lot of people had problems with that. I'm one of those folks. If I'm jamming to some Metallica, one of their songs comes on, I turn it down just a couple notches because it's kind of loud. But I still love the album. I love giving it listens. I think it's fantastic. My favorite song is Cyanide. I fucking can't wait to hear future material. They have that Lou Reed album, which I'm interested in hearing, and they have the new album, because I heard that the Lou Reed album isn't the Rick Rubin album, obviously, so I'm stoked to hear both those albums. I think they're going to be awesome. I will forever love Metallica. They're still my favorite band. Always will be. Love Metallica. I hope you enjoyed this review, if you stuck to it through the end. Yeah, that was pretty much it. You guys have good days, life situations. I will definitely see you another day. And again, I'm sorry this review took me so long to get up. But it's up now. Smile, dance, do that sort of thing. Love you guys.